What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, before I get to what I'm going to be talking about, I just want to say sorry I look kind of scruffy and kind of rough in this episode. When I woke up this morning, when I woke up this night because I slept in all day, shame on me, but it's because of my autism. It affects my sleeping schedule, but that's a whole nother story. When I woke up tonight, I felt like, because I always try to shave before each episode of Joe Winko Talk, because I always try to maintain that teenage pubescent look in all my episodes of Joe Winko Talk. But then I thought to myself, I've been doing Joe Winko Talk since year 2013 when I was 17 years old back then. And I ain't fooling anyone, so I thought, might as well just go on and make a video without shaving. So here I am. I kind of look like a caveman right now. But getting to the point, this episode of Joe Winko Talk is going to be about this stupid guy who I met on. Well, I didn't meet him at all. I was just talking to him on OkCupid. It's going to be about this stupid guy who messaged me and who I was talking to from OkCupid. We never ended up meeting each other, thank God. But I'm going to be like, it does have like an important point to it though, and I'm going to talk about that right now. So, as you all know, I'm finally living down south where I always wanted to live. Where I live, there's beaches, there's palm trees, and there's warm weather. As you guys see on my beach live streams, I'll have the link to those in the pinned comments. But, like a couple days, a few cold fronts came in and it got like really low, like down to the 40s and the 30s. And for Wisconsin, that's pretty normal. But for here, that's like freezing and it was miserable. But it went away though. So this guy I'm going to be talking to about right now, it was a couple months ago. He messaged me on OkCupid. And he was this 36-year-old man who was living in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I have on my OkCupid profile that I'm only open to relocating within the state I'm living in because the state I'm living in is the warmest state in the whole USA, and I never want to leave there at all, and plus it has beaches and palm trees. South Carolina is pretty warm too, and they have beaches and palm trees, but where he was living at in South Carolina, it didn't have beaches or palm trees. He lived in the city called Spartanburg, South Carolina. Spartanburg, South Carolina is it's like at the tip inland of the state. Let me show you where it is real quick. Here it is. Okay, right there is Spartanburg, South Carolina. So I started talking to him because he messaged me on OkCupid. And I told him, okay, you're living in Spartanburg, South Carolina. You know I don't want to move at all, because this was the first thing I brought up, because you might as well throw it out of the way. I told him, you know I don't want to move at all, because I want to be someplace warm with palm trees. I don't want to be, like, anywhere else besides a place that's warm with palm trees. And then he said that he can't move down to where I'm at, or around where I'm at, because he's taking care of his sick mother, but he was still interested in talking to me. And I was just really bored and didn't really have anyone to talk to. So, I just thought, what the heck, might as well. So we were like texting and talking to each other though. And I have the link to my YouTube videos on my OkCupid profile because that's how I really want someone to get to know me and get to know how I am and get to know how I react to stuff. Because that's why I have all these videos uploaded, to get my story out there and to share my thoughts about things so people can get to know me more. That's really the whole point. So I had the link to my YouTube videos on my OkCupid account, and I asked him, has he looked at my OkCupid profile? Has he read it? Has he clicked the link to my YouTube videos? He said no, because he's really busy taking care of his sick mother. And I called him on the phone one day. Well, he called me on the phone one day, actually, and we were talking to each other, and he said that he lives in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and I read about the climate information for Spartanburg, South Carolina. The record lows there were like 10 degrees and 13 degrees, and I was like, no. And plus, there's no palm trees or beaches in Spartanburg, South Carolina, because I looked it up on Google on, what's it called? On Google Maps, here's some pictures of the town. No offense to anyone who lives there, but here's some pictures of the town. It honestly reminds me of a place right out of Wisconsin, really. I mean, I know they wouldn't get nearly as much snow because they're much further south than Wisconsin, but still, that's not enough. I want it to be someplace warm and want it to be someplace with palm trees, and want it to be wanted there to be a beach. And then he told me that he was 4 out. He said that he was 4 hours away from the beach, and I was thinking, is this guy really gonna drive me 4 hours to go to a beach? I really doubted it, but whatever. I also asked him, so what got you so interested in me in the first place? Like, why did you message me? Did you see something on my profile that you liked? Was there something I explained on my profile that you liked so much that made you decide to message me? And then he told me, well, I never dated a light-skinned guy before. And right then I automatically knew, okay, things are definitely not going to work out between us. But as I said many times already, I was really bored and didn't really have anyone else to talk to, so I thought, might as well entertain myself with this, so let me keep talking to him anyway. So, another thing this man told me is that because I have on my profile that I have autism and ADHD, because, I'm not ashamed of those at all. I just throw them out there right away. He told me that he understood because he also had ADHD, and I'm kind of good at recognizing the symptoms of ADHD. I can't really explain how they are, but I can really pick up on it if someone has ADHD, and he definitely did have it. So another thing I'm kind of notorious for is taking a long time to reply to texts. Because of my ADHD, I get really sidetracked and really distracted easily. So one day he didn't text me at all, so I just didn't text him back at all. And a couple days later, I still didn't text him back at all because he still didn't text me at all. He freaks out and he gets mad one day, and I get this notification on OkCupid that someone sent me a message, and I knew it was his username, but it appeared that he had blocked me. And then he said, "You're not texting me, you fucking idiot." And then it said that he blocked me, and then I was just like, oh, well, okay then. C'est la vie. And like a week or two later, he finally gets back in contact with me. He asks me what's up, and then he calls me on the phone one day, and I ask him, didn't you just block me on OkCupid? I got that really disrespectful message you sent me. What's the deal with that? And then he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just stressed out and upset about stuff I was going through with my mother and everything. She's really sick right now, and it's difficult taking care of her." Okay, so I told him this too, but I didn't really get in depth on it like this. I really don't like it when people are upset about something else and then they decide to take out their frustrations on me, even though I have absolutely nothing to do with what they're upset about. That's really degrading and that's really disrespectful. So, do not ever do that. And I told him that. I didn't tell it to him in this tone, but I should have. Do not ever do that. And then, eventually, for a short while, I gotten over it. And then I just decided to talk to him anyway, because as I said, I was bored and had no one else to talk to. So then, he started telling me that, he asked me, "So, where are you living at right now? How are things going for you?" And I told him I live down south, in a state that has beaches and palm trees, where I always wanted to live in. And then I told him that I'm living in a mansion with my adoptive parents' relatives, because my adoptive parents dropped me off here to live with them on October 4th. And I told him that, I only have access to one small part of the house, because they keep the whole entire house locked up. But I can get in through the back door, because they gave me a key to it. But the rest of the hallways and the rest of the rooms are locked, and that's the only part of the house I've seen, the small part near the garage. And it is kind of weird, but if you've been living with my adoptive parents for as long as I've been living with them, it really wouldn't surprise you at all. And I didn't really care about it. But then, the next thing he said was, he said, "Oh, well, I know you said you like the beach, and I know you said you like the palm trees, but it doesn't seem like things are very good for you down there. You should come here to South Carolina and come live with me instead. It would be much better up here for you." And, when he said that, I literally cringed. Like, literally cringed. I was, cause that just smelled like someone trying to take advantage of my situation. And that made me very angry. It made me mad, and I just didn't want to talk to him anymore. So afterwards, I just hung up, and I just didn't text him, I didn't call him, or message him on OkCupid or anything. And he also never watched my YouTube videos either. And that, when someone watches my videos on YouTube, like if someone who's like romantically interested in me, like is talking to me, and if I ask them if they watch my videos on YouTube, that's a sign that they're interested in getting to know me and getting to know more about me, because honestly, that's how I want people to learn about me, through watching my YouTube videos. And the first time I talked to him, he said he lived in a trailer in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and he also told me that a tornado came by a few months earlier, and tornado and trailer, oh, okay, he lives in a mobile home. A tornado and a mobile home, those are not a good combination. Definitely not a good combination, because a tornado can easily pick up and throw a mobile home really far away, or destroy the whole entire thing entirely. And another thing is, I talked about this a really long time ago. A psychic told me I was supposed to be killed by a tornado in North Carolina in October 2017. It never ended up happening, only because the psychic told me, and only because I started typing about it online, and only because my adoptive parents found out, and only because they sent me down south to live with their relatives, because they didn't want to go to hell for having me get left in a forest and killed by a tornado, because it would have been all their fault, which it totally would have been. And that's the only reason why that didn't happen. So, I do like North Carolina, don't get me wrong. I want to visit there, but I would never want to live there because of that. He lived in South Carolina. That's a completely different state, but still it has the Carolina ending word to it. So, Carolina and tornado and me are definitely not a good combination. And the thing is, if he would have watched my videos on YouTube, he would have known about that, really. He would have, but I have so many videos uploaded. What I've been planning on doing was making a episode of Joe Winko Talk, which is like the Joe Winko Talk directory, so you can like click the links in the pinned comments and learn about my life. I really should do that one of these days, but that's a whole nother story. So anyhow, after he said that I would be better off living in Spartanburg, South Carolina, a place without palm trees or beaches, and far away from where I wanted to live, I stopped talking to him, and I didn't initiate any contact with him at all. I really never initiated any contact with him in the first place, because the only reason why I was talking to him is because I was bored and didn't have anyone else to talk to. A couple days later, he sent me a text message. He asked me if I was still interested, and I told him, I just decided to spill out the whole entire truth because I wanted him to know. I told him no, I wasn't still interested, because it sounded like he was just trying to take advantage of my situation, and it also seemed like he wasn't even interested in getting to know me. I explained all this to him in text, that he wasn't even interested in getting to know me, because he wasn't even watching my videos on YouTube, and wasn't even trying to find out anything about me at all. So I explained all that to him, and then he told me, I have a sick mother, and I'm having to take care of her. And I said, well then why are you trying to throw a random guy into the mix with it? Seriously. And he told me that he never had time to watch any of my videos on YouTube, but another thing he was saying while we were talking to each other is that he wanted to come down here and visit me for a couple days. Well, he wanted to come down and visit the state I'm living at for a couple days. So he doesn't, and that's like 500 miles away. Well, roughly 500 miles away, I don't know. Or it's a little less than that, I think. So he has enough time to drive all the way down to the state I'm living at to visit me, but he doesn't have any time to watch my videos on YouTube? What the fuck is up with that? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my whole entire life, honestly. And he said, and when I ask him, why did you decide to message me? He tells me, well, I never dated a light-skinned guy before. You know how objectifying that sounds? What a fucking goon. Seriously. I was disgusted and I felt like throwing up. Then he sent me a text saying, you and those stupid YouTube videos. Okay, now he's insulting my YouTube videos, and then he tells me, that's why you're all by yourself. That's all you care about. You act like those YouTube videos are your life. Well, they are my life, really. That's really what, like, I talk about my life in them, so technically they kinda are, dumbass, and he would have known that if he would have watched them. And then he tells me, that's why you're all alone and all by yourself. Oh, like he's hurting me there? You know, I actually kinda like being by myself, really, and I actually like being alone. Just the thing is, it gets really boring not having anyone to go to the beach with, or... One second. Or not having anyone to shoot hoops at the park with and play basketball with. I should be careful where I throw that. I could have broke something. Or not having anyone to take me on long drives, like the stranger who took me on the road trip to Arkansas. So that's the reason why it gets boring being alone and not having anyone to suck me off at all. But besides that, that's the only reason why I don't want to be alone, because it gets boring not having anyone to do that stuff with. But you know, I understand that there's a chance that I might never find the partner I'm looking for, really. But you know, I'm honestly accepting of that. I'm not going to say that I'm okay with it, because it would kind of suck if I never did. But I'm honestly accepting of that, really. And he's saying that that's the reason why you're all alone. That's not going to hurt my feelings at all. I think that's really stupid. And you know, what insulted me most about him is he thought I was stupid enough to fall for his stupid plan. So I told him to fuck off, and I didn't care what he said about me. And then he said, oh, and you say that you have autism and ADHD. I don't really think you have autism and ADHD. Okay. I wasn't upset when he said that I was all alone, but when he said that I really didn't have autism and ADHD, I think this is because of my autism. When people say stuff that's inaccurate, I seem to get really angry about it, really upset about it, and it kind of irks me. When he said that I really didn't have autism and ADHD and that I was making it up to get attention, that really, really pissed me off, because I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD by multiple psychiatrists, so I was pissed off at him and wanted to beat his ass. But you know, I don't do that because I'm not a violent person at all, and plus, like, it's really not even worth it. And plus, he's far away anyway, so I can't beat his ass, but it doesn't matter to me. You know, he was a jerk. I didn't like him, so I told him to fuck off, and I told him that I knew exactly what he's trying to do. He's just trying to take advantage of my situation. So then afterwards, we stopped talking to each other, and then, you know, eventually a few days later, I got on OkCupid, and I was like, this guy's in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Why is he talking to me? Because I'm pretty far from Spartanburg, South Carolina. So I looked up men living in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and I saw there's a ton of gay guys living in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And you know, they're not even old or anything. They're all skinny, they're all in their 30s, they all have like, they're all professional and everything, and they're all looking for relationships. So then, you know, right when I saw all that, I automatically knew exactly what he was trying to do. This fucker was trying to take advantage of my situation, trying to find a guy who lives far away so he can lure him to Spartanburg, South Carolina to come live with him. He was stressed out because he was taking care of his mother, who was sick, and then he was trying to use me as an emotional punching bag, as I saw when he sent me that mean message that said, oh, you're not talking to me, F you, on OkCupid, and when he decided to block me because he's a fucking goon. And you know, that pissed me off and that really angered me. Who the fuck does this stupid asshole guy think he is? And you know, he wasn't even good looking at all. He looked exactly like... I used to live in the Dominican Republic with my Uncle Mario. And my Uncle Mario used to take me on drives through the Dominican Republic, and I'd always see the people living on the streets and everything. He looked exactly like one of the impoverished people living on the streets in the Dominican Republic. Really, he honestly did. Not that that matters at all, really, because I really don't care what someone looks like, but when you have a rotten attitude and a rotten personality like this stupid, brainless asshole did, yeah, I'm gonna use that against you. In my episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, you know, I just decided to... Well, it's been a while since this all happened. I just decided to just go and make an episode of Joe Winko Talk about it, and here it is for your entertainment. So I hope you guys enjoyed that whole story. But that really made me mad that he thought I was stupid enough to fall for that. But, you know, I try not to get mad about it because I try to think more positive about it and try to think, well, at least I was smart enough not to fall for it. That's what I should be focusing on instead of being insulted and offended that he thought I was stupid enough to fall for it. And it shouldn't matter to me at all either, because he's miserable. He's much more miserable than I am, because I'm not taking care of a sick, dying person at all. I'm just living down south and get to go to the beach every now and then, and my sleeping schedule's kind of whack. That's why I didn't get to go to the beach today, because the beach is closed at night. And yeah. So whatever. So that's basically it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So that's it. Peace out, people.